Chris, which contender do you think is most likely to make a big trade? And I know you said earlier there aren't a ton of rumors out there, but
yeah, it depends on what you mean by big, right? I mean, is it a deal that gets you? Look,
changes the playoff.
Whoever gets Tyreek Evans probably gets an impact player. Tyreek Evans having his best season as a pro. He's a versatile guy. He's shooting close to 40% from three. He's going to have an impact if it's with a Boston, if it's with a Washington, a Philadelphia. I look at that. But the team I think that needs to make a deal is Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City over the last, 3 or 4 days has really been canvassing the league looking for that wing defender. Losing Andre Roberson
it's a huge
really hurts Oklahoma City. They needed him to be that defensive player. And prior to the Golden State game, they were really struggling in the aftermath of that injury. They're hoping to poach somebody. They don't have a lot of assets, no first-round draft pick this year to deal, not a lot of pieces outside of their core. But if you're looking at a team that could go from maybe a first-round exit to the conference finals based on one player, I think Oklahoma City might be.
So Avery Bradley?
Avery Bradley would be a good fit there. Jonathan Simmons with Orlando. Orlando might have a fire sale at some point. He would be a good fit there. Somebody that could step in and kind of play that Roberson role.
I mean, you say at some point, like they got 6 hours to have it, and he seems to have this fire sale. Do you think DeAndre Jordan is staying in place?
That's a great question, and it's the biggest question out there right now. The Clippers have been telling teams, and they told teams before the Lou Williams extension, that if you don't make us an offer that we love for Lou Williams and DeAndre Jordan, we're not making this deal. Now, a lot of teams didn't believe them. A lot of teams said, no, they're going to trade Lou Williams. They turn around, they extend him. So because of that evidence, I start to think that the Clippers are serious about keeping Jordan in the fold. One team I'd keep an eye on with DeAndre Jordan, that's Washington. The Wizards need to make a deal. The Wizards, with that roster, they're a second-round team. They're going to get beat by somebody in the second round of the playoffs, and they're capped out of the next few years, so they can't significantly upgrade that roster via free agency. They've got a couple of pieces there. They've got Marcin Gortat, who's got 1 year left in his deal. They've got Kelly Oubre, who's a very nice young player coming into his own. The Clippers have long said, and again, this is something I've been reluctant to believe. But the Clippers have long said, as we rebuild, we're not going to bottom out. We're not going to become the Philadelphia 76ers. A Kelly Oubre, Marcin Gortat center deal makes some sense for the Clippers and makes a lot of sense for Washington because it shakes up the team a little bit and makes them a little bit of, I think, a better team.
All right, let's talk about the 3 teams in the West, other than Oklahoma City, that have the best odds right now to win a title. Golden State, Houston, and San Antonio. Do you see anything from any of them? Houston, Cece and I watched them in person the other night. Man, I can't find a hole on the roster. It's not like I'm like, man, they really need the wing defender. No, they have Luke Richard and Mbah a Moute. Man, they really could use a backup big man. Nah, like they play Clint Capella and then they go small. I can't find what they would need. Golden State obviously doesn't seem to need a lot. Any of those teams, those 2 or San Antonio, you see making a move?
No, I mean, look, the Rockets are always active because it's Daryl Morey and he can't sit still for more than an hour before trying to make a deal. But if the Rockets were going to do anything, I think they might be a seller. I mean, they've been dangling Ryan Anderson out there, and they've been doing that for the last couple of years. Not because they don't like Ryan Anderson. He's been a big part of what they do this year.
He's overpaid.
But he is overpaid. And the Rockets are trying to clear cap space for next summer. So would they surrender a player that helps them this year for the flexibility to go out and get maybe LeBron James next summer? I think that's something they're looking for. But they're in a tough spot, too, in terms of assets.
Yeah, and the Rockets, though, they found Gerald Green. I mean, my goodness. I mean, but that gives them more flexibility. Do you see any other team, either through buyout, being able to add that type of firepower? We know that we're talking about wing defenders, but also people are looking for people who can score.
Yeah.
Do you look for anyone getting bought out of their contract that we might not be on our radar right now?
Well, it's teams like, you look at Orlando with Elfrid Payton, Mario Hezonja. There's a new front office down there. They're not wed to any of them.
And you mentioned Simmons, who looked like George Gervin.
Though, but
he looked like George Gervin against the Cavs. I mean, my
really good third quarter
if you show that highlight right there, someone is definitely going to deal for him.
Well, I mean, look, Orlando's average 115 points per game against the Cavs this year. That's a really tough offensive team.
By the way, I just want to tell our producers then get this stuff ready. Once we're done talking about the trade deadline, we're going to spend a few minutes on this Cavs discussion. But go ahead.
To answer your question about the buyout market, it's tough to get a full read on it yet because it always depends on what guys are willing to leave on the table. But a team like Boston's going to get somebody. They are, because players are going to want to go someplace they can win. Boston's got a role for them coming off the bench. They're going to get somebody in that buyout mix that's going to flesh out that bench.
Hold on. I want to stay on Boston for a moment. Boston just added Greg Monroe, right?
Yes.
They were pre-Greg Monroe. They were the team that's going to win the East.
Yes.
Okay. So they added Greg Monroe. They might have Gordon Hayward coming back. Last time you told us that, he's shooting set jump shots like Bob Cousy, few weeks away from playing in NBA games. So how is Boston going to find minutes? There's still only what's.
I mean, they're not that deep.
No.
I mean, they can use some help.
There's only, but they were already going to win the East. They added Greg Monroe.
That don't mean there's not minutes available.
So who are the type? I'm just curious. The types of guys is Marcus Smart getting traded away? I'm asking.
He's asking him answers.
Is Marcus Smart getting traded away?
No, he's not getting traded away, largely because nobody's given up a first-round pick for a guy that's had some off-the-court issues, plus is in the last year of his contract. Boston's bench is streaky. You know, Terry Rozier had a phenomenal stretch with Kyrie Irving out. Smart, though, his jump shot ebbs and flows. They're looking for that guy who can be a consistent three-point shooter who can flesh out that bench. Greg Monroe does help them, though. Greg Monroe is not a defensive player, but he's an offensive player. And now with Greg Monroe, you might have yourself a tentpole kind of fixture in the low post that you can play through with that second unit, which will allow you, by the way, to play Kyrie Irving and Al Horford more minutes together and not worrying about staggering those minutes.
Guys, I sold fireworks, and all you've done is asked and answered.
No. Well, listen, Mannix wears two hats. He wears his professional NBA reporter hat,
right?
And then he wears the hat he wears to bed with his Celtics pajamas, and all that.
Luck.
And so that
Good luck.
Next to your LeBron pullout.
We were doing the NBA because it's the trade deadline, trying to figure out what's going on, and so we can discuss because you were the game from last night.
Yeah,
you were along with my partner Chris Carter. You guys were very unimpressed with the Cavs win against the Timberwolves, correct? Their defensive, whatever it was.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm unimpressed, but I'm going to say that I've seen too much bad basketball to say that, wow, they've turned the corner. No, I'm not going to say. I didn't see that last night. I mean, they did give up 100 and how many?
138.
Oh, 138.
Mannix, did they turn a corner?
No. What corner? Where's the corner? I can't even see the corner right now. 58% from the field for Minnesota. 58% from three. How does that get it done? You mocked me with saying Orlando averaged 115 points per game. That is a bottom third in the NBA offensive team that has run roughshod over the Cavs over 4 games this season. I mean, what do you're like, what's that old parable about the guy that dies and goes to heaven and says, you know, God, why didn't you save me? Well, I sent you a boat, a car, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is you. This is seriously you. How much evidence do you need to see to think that the Cavaliers are not going to advance deep in the playoffs?
See, that's so funny.
Are not going to win. What do you need to see? We're in early February. Do you need to get to March and see this team giving up 140 points?
This is what I was
blitzed by teams on a regular basis. What do you need to see?
Okay, it's so funny you bring up the parable about the God sent you the boat, sent you the car. What do you need to see? What do you and so many of your colleagues in the media need to see to realize it is always a bad bet in January and February to sell your LeBron James stock?
Yes.
That last year, can we stop pretending like last year this wasn't happening? Can we stop pretending like last year people weren't saying Boston could be the 1 seed? They
still did have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love and LeBron.
Well, they will have Kevin Love before the playoffs start. They still do have LeBron. They don't have Kyrie anymore. But what Boston had last year was a player in IT that was playing essentially at Kyrie's level. IT is not Kyrie's level of player, but
I would say the majority of the people didn't believe that Boston was going to beat the Cavs last year.
I did not. I said that last year. I wrote that the Celtics were coming. They were definitely not there this year. But okay, you say you're right. January, this stuff happens to the Cavs every single year. It's now February. What if this keeps going in March? What if we keep... The Cavaliers over the last few years have built some momentum going into the playoffs each and every year.
Right, and for some reason, a game, I understand the defense wasn't good last night, but a game where they hold on, but I'm talking about last night for a second. A game where they score 140 against one of the better teams in the Western Conference is somehow an indictment on where they are. A game where they...
So last night changed your impression? Because you were concerned in Orlando the night before.
Minnesota, most of the season, has been a horrendous defensive team.
Okay, but they've been. Am I crazy that they have right now? Am I making this up right now? They have one of the 6 best records in the NBA.
Yes.
Okay, so they've been, despite their defense, whatever it is, somehow they've gotten to 34 and 23, right? And yesterday against Orlando, I said they were awful against Orlando. I said they need to make a trade if they want to have a chance to win a championship.
So what are you going to do when they don't make a big trade? Because they're not. They're not going to trade the Brooklyn pick. Okay. So brace yourself for tomorrow.
Okay,
right?
well, I'm not certain they won't trade the Brooklyn pick.
They're not going to trade the Brooklyn pick.
Okay, so we'll see if they'll trade the Brooklyn pick or not. Cece.
Well, you've made it
let's
very
just
clear
say hypothetically. We got our own show. We can do a hypothetical question.
Oh, I'm all for hypotheticals.
What are you going to do when they don't trade the Brooklyn pick?
I won't think they'll win the title. I'll still think they'll win the East. Like, the idea that we go through this every year.
No, we don't, Nick.
What?
No, we don't. This is the year, man. All right? Now, just like you predicted Tom Brady.
CC.
Oh, no. Remember you predicted that? Mm-hmm. Tom Brady, this is the year. No, this is the year for LeBron.
Okay.
This is the year that he does not make it to the final.
Let me look, again, I'm trying to see what evidence you need to see to change your opinion on all this. If they go into Boston on Sunday and get smoked on Sunday afternoon, national TV,
What evidence do I need to see? I need to see them play.
Does he actually have to lose a game 7 in the playoffs?
They would have to be eliminated.
Yeah. Because all good things come to an end. Shaq and Kobe weren't supposed to lose to the Pistons. I mean, all great teams, great dynasties, they have an end point. Okay. And this, to me, in the Eastern Conference, is the Cavaliers.
Okay, first of all, I want to make this clear. The Cavs are not a great team, nor are they a great dynasty. What they do have, though, is a great player.
LeBron, 7 straight years.
He is a walking personal dynasty, but those 2 of those titles and 4 of those finals were with a different organization. But, Cece, you say we don't do this every year. Every year LeBron's been back with the Cavs. There have been questions about will they make the finals. Year 1, they were below 500 through 40 games.
We weren't doing this, but you can take us as being the national media, all right? There was not this concern in Cleveland. It was a different type of concern. And they had not won a championship, Nick, all right? They were they were putting the team back together. So the expectations on LeBron in the first year are not what they were this year.
Sure, but when I say it happens every year, in the first year, they struggled for 40 games. In the second year, they fired their coach. And in the third year, we can do revisionist history as if people last year, I know you weren't because we were watching the games together, but as if people last year were not saying this is the year that the Celtics can come out of the East. Yes, they were.
Well,
that was maybe.
I can only be responsible for myself, and I can only represent my opinion.
This is the first year that I think that anyone has credibly said the Cavs can get beat in the playoffs. I don't think anyone believed in Boston last year. More people believed in Toronto last year than believed in Boston. They got smoked in 4 games after the Ibaka trade. This year, it's not just Boston. Boston went up to Toronto the other night and got blitzed. That Raptors team is the best they've been in the last 3 years. There are teams in the Eastern Conference. We don't know what Milwaukee's going to look like with Parker back, how he fits into the mix. This is going to be a street fight for the Cavaliers from second round on.
Why are we year 1 there? Atlanta won 60 games, had 4 All-Stars. People weren't saying it then?
No.
Year 2 there.
Nobody believed Atlanta was good.
Okay.
I didn't. I mean, not nobody.
I cannot wait until next season. Now, LeBron probably won't be with the Cavs. But next season, when people are like, well, and no one doubted they'd make it last year. No one's ever doubted, but this is the year. Okay. I'm excited for it.
I'm just wondering.
What I will say, Jenna, in a monotone voice is, I doubted them,
and
they made it to the finals, and they still got jacked by somebody coming out the West.
I just don't know what evidence. I just don't know when do you start to think, okay, it's over? When do you start to think, all right, this is bad? Does it actually have to happen in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
This was good, guys. That's what I built. That's what I wanted. I feel bad. I want to send you a life raft or something. I feel like it was a little tilted
fine.
here.
I mean, no. I can't wait. Because the great thing is we have video of all this.
Yes.
So when the Celtics get bounced by Milwaukee in round 2 and don't even get to play.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.